So I need everybody to understand this one simple thing, which is it's not like you're gonna flip a switch and that switch will be turned on forever. And what's amazing is I just came up with this idea or analogy of flipping a switch because if I want to turn the light on, guess what? I have to flip the switch. But then if I flip the switch off, then the light goes off as well. And what happens is we actually end up, oh my God, this analogy is so beautiful. What happens is the reason why we self sabotage, the reason why we keep doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing instead of doing the things that we know we should be doing is because we ourselves turn that light switch off. Okay. And that's because of our negative habits, negative routines. You probably heard this before. We are creatures of our habits. We are creatures of our routines. So think about this. Every morning that you wake up, you probably do the same thing over and over again. Now, there may be some days where you are very productive, but there may be some days where you are very unproductive, but there's always a baseline level. If you take, let's say, a sample size of a few weeks, a few months, you realize, hey, I may be going up and down like this, but I could always draw a consistent line in between my behaviors, in between my activity, which is why, let's say, for example, for income, right? Which is why maybe you'll work really hard, you'll make a bunch of money, and then guess what? Your money comes down at the end of the year, you average it out, and it becomes the same thing. Which is what maybe you work out really well, you do the right things, you lose a bunch of weight, and then you gain that weight back. And that's why it's so hard. So the question is, how do we really stop self sabotaging and route to success, and route to change, and route to having a better life, and route to just becoming that person that has the life that they want? And that's really the answer: becoming the person that has the life that you want. So if you really do an exercise with yourself, it's like, okay, you know, for example, I'll do this exercise for myself, and this is a great exercise that you can follow along and do it for yourself as well. So my goal, which means you need to have a goal if you want to do this exercise. So my goal, my target is I want to gain weight. I want to be 185 pounds. I want to be jacked. I want to be vascular. I want to have a wide physique. I want to have, broad shoulders. I want to look like a warrior that's ready to battle a bear if needed, right? That's what I want to do. And I have the physique for it, the body type. I just need to stack on size and work out heavily. So now that I have a target, I need to identify the behaviors of the person that actually has that body. So maybe I can do something which is known as mental foreplay. Okay, and this is gonna come and make sense exactly why you're gonna need to use mental foreplay to stop self-sabotage. So if I do mental foreplay and I go to the future and I think about who I would be that would produce that result. Or let's say in the future I'm 185 pounds and then I analyze my day. What am I doing? Okay, how are my behaviors different? And so, for example, I'm doing exercise with you right now. If I'm 185 pounds in the future, which I am, guess what I'm doing? I'm waking up early. I'm hitting the gym either early in the morning or in the afternoon because I have that kind of lifestyle. I can do whatever I want whenever I want. Alhamdulillah, thankfully, because of the different businesses that I talk about on this channel. So, it's going to be early morning or it's going to be like after dhuhr, inshallah, right? So afternoon. And then when I'm going there, I'm going to be working out heavily, intense 45 to 60 minutes, just intense, heavily working out, just, really focusing in on the muscle, no headphones, just positive self-talk and just killing it straight, right? So, and I'm probably going to do a push-pull, legs, shoulders kind of routine. That's what I'm going to do because that's what worked for me when I did gain weight. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. But then guess what else I'm going to do? I'm going to be eating 6 meals a day or 5 meals a day. I'm going to be very consistent and conscious of my macros. So you see how I'm very detailed of the type of person that I am. So since I know the type of person that I am when I'm 185 pounds, I need to bring that, and that's in the future, I need to bring that in the present and do that. You probably know that because innately hey, this is what I need to do, but I keep falling off the wagon and I can't stay consistent. I keep self-sabotaging myself. So I have certain success. I built some kind of momentum. I built some kind of consistency. And then I always do something and I fall off the wagon. Okay. So this is exactly what you need to do. So I'll tell you this. For example, let's say you are working on being a better man, and one of the habits that you know that are negative and that is a form of self-sabotage for yourself, it's which is just looking at women, right? Just staring at women, just not lowering your gaze. Okay, so there's different ways to go about it. Okay, and you could apply this for any kind of habit, maybe sleeping in, or maybe I don't know, drinking soda, drinking eating unhealthy food, or just procrastinating or spending 4 hours on Netflix when you could have spent at least 3 hours of that working on your business, side hustle, whatever. So these are the negative traits that you keep falling back to, and that produces or turns on the switch of self-sabotage, or turns off the switch of productivity, of being your best self. So what do you need to do at that point? What happens is, as you keep doing it, you start to have that regret, which is why I keep doing this, I don't feel good about it, and I have the self-sabotage. So the only way that I found right now, because the thing never goes away, okay, it never goes away, the self-sabotage is kind of there, you just kind of override it and become your ability to do what you know you should be doing becomes so strong that the other whisper is so small. Okay, that's all it is. And you just got to be consistent on that. So sometimes what will happen is you'll be on a grind, and there will be that time where that your old self, your ego, shaitan, your nafs, whatever it is going to come in your mind, in your nafs, whatever, and is going to try to tempt you to do those negative self-sabotaging activities. And what you need to do at that time is you need to engage in mental foreplay. Okay. And this is what I've been doing. And this is because I've been at a time where I know I should be doing something. And I'm prey to this. I know I should be doing something, and then I don't do it. I know I shouldn't be doing something, but then I still end up doing it. I know I should, probably, not sleep in, but then I still end up sleeping in, right? And so what we need to do is we need to start foreplaying the future and seeing what will happen if I actually do this activity that I know I shouldn't be doing. So for example, this is one of the things that have really helped me lower my gaze. Okay, one of the examples. It's a very trivial example, but for some people it's very like, oh my God, that's tough, right? So like I've learned to have this mental foreplay in my mind where like, okay, I can stare at a woman, but nothing's gonna happen, right? I'm not gonna go up to her, okay? I'm just not, and I'm not gonna talk to her, and I'm not gonna, ask her for a number, and then I'm not gonna take her on a date. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. And so now it's just like I'm just wasting energy, wasting time, wasting resources, and I'm just like, why am I even looking? There's no use for it, because what I do is I take myself in the future. Okay, let's say I did look at her, and then what? Nothing. I literally get nothing out of it other than, damn, that was a waste. That was useless. There was no point of that. There's no purpose behind it. Okay, so that's really something that helped me, is doing mental foreplay. So maybe you want to do that. Let's say, you're in a situation where you can work on your business, or you can go hang out with your friends. Okay, but you kind of know you shouldn't hang out with your friends, but your old self is trying to tempt you and say, hey, you're gonna have fun, whatever, blah blah blah. What you need to do is and especially, you shouldn't do it, but the temptation is very strong. That's when you need to learn how to use mental foreplay, because you're gonna activate your imagination and fast forward to you going out, doing the thing that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you're tempted so much to do so. You're going to fast forward and actually play in your head doing it, and how you feel after. And then realizing, was it worth it? How many times has it been where you know that you shouldn't do something, you end up doing it, and after you're like, I shouldn't have done that. But you knew you shouldn't have done that, but you still did it, right? There was just that little dirty little pull that was like, oh, let's go do it. And then you end up doing it, and it's like, I know I shouldn't have done that. That was a waste. Like, for example, I went to the movies, and I watched this movie, Deadpool, and it was a waste. Okay, I don't recommend it. It's anti-Islamic. It's It's really bad. It's really bad. The propaganda and whatever they're trying to push, the narrative is really bad. So literally the first like 30 seconds of the movie starting, I knew I should leave, and I didn't. Okay, I stayed, and I ended up finishing the entire movie, and then I regret. I was like, that was a waste. So I could have sat there and I could have played that mental foreplay of like, okay, maybe not in the first 30 seconds, because I was like, let me see how it plays out. After 10 minutes, you kind of know what's happening. And it was so bad that I should have just mental foreplayed it and be like, you know what? This is not going to work out. This is going to be a waste. I'm going to regret doing this. And I knew it deep down inside I should stop, but I just didn't because I was with somebody. So I was like, oh, whatever. So we ended up finishing the movie. But that's literally what I'm saying. How many times we know that we shouldn't be doing something, but we are tempted so much to do so. Like for example, staying up late. We know we should just go to sleep, even though we're not really tired. We should just go to bed. We'll fall asleep, but we're so tempted. You know what? Let's just watch Netflix. Have some energy. Let me just do this. Let me just do this thing that. Let me scroll on social media. But we're so tempted to do it when we know we shouldn't be doing it. Mental foreplay. You go take yourself to the future. Okay, I just scroll all this time. How do I feel now? Well, you feel regretful. You feel like you wasted time. You feel empty. That's really what it is. It's one of the greatest hacks that I've discovered. It's literally fresh. I came up with this idea of mental foreplay. This video could have been much better if I recorded it as soon as I came up with it, but hopefully I was able to translate the epiphany that I had to you. If you're really just trying to change, when in the process of change, in the journey when you're trying to change, you're going to have a lot of obstacles on your way. You're going to have temptations, you're going to have negative thoughts, you're going to have people, seeding doubt in you. You yourself, your mind is going to seed doubt within yourself. And so you need to build that mental fortitude and that grit of just like, you know what? I'm going to like be able to step back. Let me see what's happening here and let me choose the actions, because that's really what we're doing. We end up choosing the actions. Remember what I said in the beginning of the video. We flip the switch, because change is not like you flip a switch and it stays on forever. No, you flip the switch and you have to make sure that switch is always turned on, because sometimes it turns off and sometimes we ourselves turn it off. And so we need to be able to think in the future and say, okay, if I turn it off, am I still going to be able to see? Okay, we're not going to be able to see. And I need you to understand this as well. It's about habits. It's about routines. And we get to choose our routines. If we break our routines, what's going to happen is we're going to fall down, go through the cycle of self-sabotage. You can do this mental foreplay again and be like, you know what? If I do this, what's it going to lead to? And what's it going to lead to? What's it going to lead to? Is it really worth it? And 99% of the time, it's not worth it. There's always a time to reward yourself in a productive and beneficial way, because we know a lot of things that are bad for us, but we know many things that are great for us, yet we don't do it. Mental foreplay, practice it. It will change your life. Peace.